Hey y'all, welcome back to Southern Weird and Wild. Tonight we're leaving the swamps and bayous and heading straight into the Colorado Rockies with a story that still gives our listener, Janet, goosebumps 25 years later. She was just a kid living with her grandparents in a little cabin off the grid. She loved those mountain trails until the night the sun dropped like a stone and something decided she wasn't going home alone. When you hear the word fairies or fae, do you think cute and sweet or scary and vicious? Janet's story might change your perspective. This one's in her own words. Janet, take us there.
Hey everybody, I'm Janet. I'm from a little town outside Shreveport, Louisiana. But when I was 13, my folks hit a rough patch and sent me to live with my grandparents outside Nederland, Colorado, for almost 2 full years. Their cabin sat at about 9,000 feet, backed right up against national forest land. No neighbors for miles, just pine trees, granite boulders, and trails that wound up into the mountains like veins. Grandpa was a retired miner, tough as old boot leather, and Grandma baked the best huckleberry pie you ever tasted. Every single afternoon after chores, I'd lace up my boots and disappear into those trails. They weren't hard hikes, nothing technical, just old mining paths and game trails that stayed within 2 or 3 miles of the cabin. I knew every twist. I knew where the creek crossed the path, where the big lightning-struck ponderosa leaned over like it was whispering secrets. I felt safe up there. The air smelled like Christmas trees and snow even in summer. Sometimes I'd sit on a fallen log and just listen to the wind in the needles and pretend I was the only person left on Earth. Grandpa always warned me, "Sun drops fast in these mountains, little girl. You ain't got street lights up here." I'd roll my eyes and promise I'd be back before dark. I kept that promise until I didn't. It was late September. The aspens were already turning that crazy gold color that makes the whole mountainside look like it's on fire. I left the cabin right after lunch with my little backpack, water, a granola bar, and my red windbreaker tied around my waist. I told Grandma I was only going to the overlook, that big flat rock where you can see the Indian peaks. But the day was so perfect I kept going. One more switchback, then another. By the time I realized how far I'd wandered, the sun was already kissing the ridgeline. Colorado doesn't ease into night like Louisiana does. One minute it's bright, the next minute the shadows just swallow everything. I looked at my little Timex, 6:47. I knew the trail home like the back of my hand, so I started moving fast. Not quite running, but that quick scared kid shuffle where you're trying not to look scared. The temperature dropped 10 degrees in 5 minutes. My breath started puffing out in little clouds. That's when I first heard it. A giggle, high, sweet, like 2 little girls playing hide and seek. I stopped dead on the trail. The sound came from behind me, maybe 30 yards back in the trees. I called out, "Hello?" Nothing, just wind. I started walking again, faster now. 30 seconds later, the same giggle, closer. Then a voice, clear as day, right behind my left shoulder. "Janet, wait for us." My stomach flipped. I spun around, nothing but empty trail and dark pines, but I could feel eyes on me. I took off at a dead run. My boots slapped the dirt, backpack bounced, heart hammering so loud I could hear it in my ears. The voice called again, but now there were 2 of them, singing my name back and forth like a game. "Janet, Janet, don't run, play with us." I rounded the big switchback by the dead ponderosa, and that's when I saw them for the first time. They were standing right in the middle of the trail, maybe 20 feet ahead, blocking my way home. 2 of them, about 4 feet tall, the size of little girls, but everything was wrong. Long, straight hair down past their waists, one blonde, one black, shining like they had their own light. They wore these ragged little black dresses that looked like they'd been made out of spider webs and moonlight. But the worst part? Their eyes. Completely white, no pupils, no color, just glowing, like two flashlights someone left on inside their skulls. Delicate wings, not butterfly pretty, more like dragonfly, but veined with silver and twitching even though there was no breeze. They smiled at the same time, too many teeth. The blonde one tilted her head and said in the sweetest little girl voice you ever heard, "Janet, you're late for supper. Grandma's worried." How did she know my grandma? The dark-haired one floated. I swear she floated, 6 inches off the ground and drifted closer. "Come play in the hollow. We have fireflies that never go out." I screamed. I don't even remember deciding to run. My body just took over. I cut straight off the trail, crashing through the underbrush, branches whipping my face. Behind me, I heard wings, a high buzzing sound like 1,000 bees. They were right on my heels. One of them laughed right next to my ear. I felt her cold breath on my neck. "Run faster, Janet, run faster." I could see the cabin light through the trees, that little yellow porch bulb Grandma always left on. I was sobbing, legs burning, lungs on fire. Something grabbed the hood of my windbreaker, just the fabric, and yanked. I spun, swung my backpack like a weapon, and hit nothing but air. I burst out of the tree line into the yard, fell up the porch steps, and slammed into the screen door so hard the whole frame rattled. Grandpa yanked it open, shotgun already in his hands. I fell inside and screamed, "Close it, close it." He looked past me into the yard, face going pale. I turned around just in time to see them, standing at the edge of the tree line, side by side, those white eyes glowing like headlights. The blonde one raised one tiny hand and waved slow, like we were friends. Then they both stepped backward into the shadows and were gone. Grandpa never laughed at me. He locked every door, loaded the shotgun, and sat up all night in his rocking chair facing the window. Grandma made me hot chocolate with extra marshmallows and didn't ask questions until morning. The next day, Grandpa walked the trail with me and showed me where the old-timers used to leave bowls of milk and honey on certain rocks. He said, "Some things in these mountains ain't never been human, and they don't like being ignored." He made me promise never to be on the trails after the sun touched the ridge. I kept that promise until the day we moved back to Louisiana 2 years later. I still dream about those white eyes sometimes, and every once in a while, when I'm out in the woods at dusk back home in the South, I swear I hear 2 little girls giggling.
Janet, thank you for trusting us with that one. That gave me chills. If you've ever had something follow you out of the woods, drop it in the comments. We read every single one. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a new weird tale. We drop new videos weekly. What should we cover next? Cryptids in the bayou? Haunted southern plantations? Let me know down below. Stay weird, stay safe, and whatever you do, don't hike after dark in the Rockies. We'll see y'all in the next one. Later, Gators.